What up, y'all? All the Smoke is hitting the road. We'll be in New York October 7th and in Philly October 9th. Make sure you guys come and kick it with us. We'll have Larry Johnson and some friends in New York, and then we'll have $1 million worth of game and Paul George in Philly. Go to allthesmokeproductions.com/tour. Use promo code TRAINING at checkout for a buy one, get one free promo offer. Offer won't last long. We'll see y'all there. Welcome back, All the Smoke. One half of All the Smoke, my brother Jack. Love you. Sitting in the dentist chair right now. He had to get some teeth pulled before he said his mouth started smelling like dump truck juice. So we shouting this episode out to you, bro. I'm excited, man. This is. I've been trying to track this person down for a long time. Played against him for many years. Never really talked, just competed against each other. And I always liked how hard he played, but then just kind of started to see him live his life through social media. I'm like, I knew I'd fuck with this dude. So long time overdue. Glad to finally sit down with you. Welcome to the show, Joakim Noah, man. Thank you, bro.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, no doubt.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were able to make this work. Man, let's get to it. Unfortunately, the world lost a giant this week. Dikembe Mutombo, rest in peace and in love to his family. Your dad and him had the same agent. You've known him for a long time, mentor on and off the court, tough love, kind of gave you the blueprint to your post-career, if you would say. So speak to, obviously, how instrumental he was in your life and just, you know, what he meant to you.
Well, Dikembe is somebody who meant a lot to a lot of people, so I want to choose my words like wisely. What a special, you know, obviously in the basketball community, it's tough, but just all around the world, the patience that he had for people is what resonates the most. I remember going to Georgetown camp as a kid and getting to see him like early on in his NBA career, and just always gave everybody the time of day. And, you know, his whole thing was just about never forgetting where you're from. You know, I think that's something that resonates for people all around, you know, just the guys from Kinshasa, he started playing basketball at 18 years old.
Crazy.
He got to Georgetown University to be a medical student.
A doctor.
A doctor. Coach Thompson sees him on campus. He's like, yo, you need to get your big ass in the gym. And you know what? And it was just, what an honor to be around that guy. I got to spend a lot of time with him afterwards, you know, with the BAL, just being able to invest in a basketball league with the NBA on the continent, and just to be around him. Just what a special guy, you know, and I'll never forget Dikembe always, you know, I used to call him Tonton, that's my, you know, this uncle, you know, and I would come in just, you know, t-shirts, sweatpants, like, and he was like, yo, if you around me, just don't be dressing like that. You know, you need to, you know, this is business now. Tighten up. So that's the energy that Dikembe had, and it wasn't just basketball. It's like all around the world, just people, just really, he deserved that love that he gets, man.
Rest in peace,
Rest
man.
in peace,
Sorry for your loss, bro.
Respect.
Definitely. Obviously, more news hit about a week and a half ago. One of your brothers decided to call it a career, Derrick Rose. Yeah. One of the most special athletes we've ever seen in this game. He put fear in the hearts of the best in our league, bro. And you were right there with it. You got to Chicago 1 year before him. He was your rook. How did your guys' relationship start? And I know it turned into a real brotherhood, because I think I saw you officiated his
wedding.
We'll get to that. But tell me how all of it started.
It was just a real blessing to be around Pooh, you know.
What do you call him?
Pooh.
Pooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's you know, as special as they come in terms of, you know, a real introvert at heart, somebody who could score 30 on you, but just was scared of the post-game interview. He just didn't want no part of the media. You know, he just was always true to himself. And, you know, somebody who had an unbelievable talent, but just stayed real throughout. And I think, you know, I wouldn't even, you know, when you're a second-year player, he came in the year before. I wouldn't call him my rook. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have to, give out all the gear. He didn't have to do none of that.
Different.
He was that nice. He was that nice. He didn't have to just come into,
he didn't have no duties
at the hotel. He had no rookie duties.
He made other people handle his shit.
Exactly. I think our relationship grew. Obviously, you want to win a championship so bad, but our relationship really grew smoking herb after he got hurt. So he got hurt, and I think that, he was at the height of his thing, just, signed a huge deal with the Bulls, signed a huge deal with Adidas, but, had to sit out that year. And I think it was a real lonely time for him. Obviously, I want to give a big shout out to his friends, his brothers, who, he keeps the same people from the beginning.
Tight circle.
Real tight circle. But yeah, our relationship really grew on the road, putting that towel under the in the bathroom.
Come on, man. Now you talking real shit. Hey, these people don't know, like, bro, smoking weed was a real job if you were smoking in the league, because it just, you get in trouble. So we had to get the towels. We had to. Some people like to turn the shower on. It get too fucking hot in there. But I always had the candles, the incense. I brought the plug-in glades too. So my shit was smelling nice.
You were organized.
Yeah. Oh, come on, man. I'm a sophisticated smoker. But it was a real job. And then on top of that, we're taking these drinks to try to flush our systems. Like, what was that? I mean, no one's ever really opened up on the show like that to really let me know we can go there. So let's motherfucking go there, bro.
Nah, man, this is all the smoke, right? This is all the smoke. So let's talk. So
let's
talk about it.
You were saying putting the towels under the door and just fellowshipping.
Yes. So that was some real bonding times. When the guys would come in.
Some of the best.
And I think our relationship really grew off that. It's weird that it was the height of his thing, and how lonely you can be, and you're around your teammates more than you're around your family, and Bud, even though we weren't really supposed to smoke or anything like that, it was so important. It was so important to just be able to just detach. This is big business. This is corporation. Exactly. So to be able to share that and like really get to know each other, I mean, it wasn't nothing fancy. We're in the bathroom talking shit, smoking a blunt.
That's it.
So I really cherished those times, and I think that our brotherhood really grew off that. And he was also somebody who always had my back. There was probably times where the Bulls were like, oh, we could probably get something better for Joakim, and he was probably like, I know Pooh was like, nah, that's my guy. And I think similar, when Pooh was one of the most beloved figures, and when he got hurt, I think a lot of people turned their backs on him in his own city. Damn. So to be able to support him through that, and I don't pretend to be the only person who was, but who was out there on the court with him and who had to deal with that. I cherish that time. I think it just, all those tough times also made our relationship stronger. And then, being able to officiate his wedding.
That's dope, bro. I seen that shit. I'm like, yo, look at this. This is incredible. Yeah. I mean, where was it at? Where were you guys at?
I was out here, Beverly Hills Hotel.
Okay. That was some fly shit, bro.
It was fly, but I'll tell you what.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll tell you what. That was the most uncomfortable shit I ever had to do.
I was about to say, you nervous?
I was nervous as hell. Like a wedding.
Did you smoke one first?
I smoked one after.
Okay.
I had to come right. I'm like trying to,
First time doing it?
That was my first time doing it. It's probably my last time. Like, this is.
It's a big business.
It was, when Elena, Mama Rose and all, they were like, okay, you're doing this, we need you for the officiate. Don't fuck it up.
Right.
This is a big moment for my guy, so I want it to be right. Can you imagine? I didn't even smoke one before, man. I waited till after.
You should have maybe just hit it 2 or 3 times. I got this shit. So what was I got a chance, not as long as you did, but I got a chance to play with Kobe, and I think there was a misconception on just who he was as a person off the court or even in the locker room. Kobe was someone you could talk shit to. He's going to talk back to you. He's going to rap. He's going to just a cool, down-to-earth dude. We've never really got a chance to see that side of D. Is he like that, or is he just kind of always cool, laughing, but he's always kind of reserved? I
mean, I think he's somebody who he waits until, he needs to be comfortable.
Okay.
He's a real introvert at heart, so quiet. But I remember our rookie year, like Brandon Jennings scored 55. So guys in on the plane are talking about, yo, Brandon Jennings got 55. He might get Rookie of the Year. And Pooh's not saying shit. And like 2 years later, you know, we're having one of those smoke sessions, and he's like, yo, I remember when guys were talking about Brandon Jennings getting the Rookie of the Year. I'm not gonna lie, that put that fire in me. You know what I mean? And he didn't say a word the whole time.
Right.
That's the kind of guy he is. Like even when I ended up retiring with the Bulls, you know, the Bulls they brought in the guys, but they were giving me like the cheap liquor for the party.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pooh put the money down right away for me. You know, he'll do shit like that, but just not say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he doesn't want credit for anything, but just, you know, class act. I think, you know, what he represents for that city. Every time we laced him up, we felt like we had a chance. And you know, there's something different about free agency and, you know, coming in and getting your first checks together. And I mean, I'm going all over the place, but rookie year, and he gets the Rookie of the Year. He got all his homies with him. We go out to the club. They don't let him in. They can't let him in the club because he's too young. Too young.
What?
And he's the most famous person in the city.
Right.
You know, so it's just like moments, memories like that.
What's the MVP year like?
MVP year was, I mean, you know, hope is a really powerful emotion, you know, and like when you play with talent like that and you feel like you can win any game, it's a special feeling, you know, you train that much harder. And that's what he represented, not just for us, but for the whole city, you know. And you know, it was Miami Heat, it was LeBron to the Heat, and we really felt like, you know, we were the squad that could get them, you know, and especially when we had that guy on our side. So it was just having Pooh on our side before he got hurt was superpower. You know, it was like almost like he had the turbo button and nobody else had the turbo button.
Cheat code.
Is
there one game that stands out or a play that stands out where you're just like, God, I mean, you got to see it in practice and the game every single day. Then you got to vibe with him off the court. Like, is there one time you're just like, God damn? Or maybe several times where you said that.
I mean, it was every night. But I mean, the thing that was crazy, just like you said though, I saw a lot of the top guys show fear around him because they wanted to be friends with him. They wanted to be cool with him, and he didn't want none of that. You know, he was like, okay, these are my colors. I'm not trying to be friends with none of you guys. He's like, these are my teammates, and that's it. But I saw a lot of the top guys who were dominating the game. When Pooh came, they didn't want no problems with that guy.
They didn't want no problems. I seen it.
Shout
I was there.
Pooh, man. Shout out Pooh.
I seen it. Football season means every weekend is extra special. That's what fall's all about. You can make the weekend even more exciting by getting in on the action with my partners at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet on touchdowns. Right now, all new customers who bet $5 will instantly get $200 in bonus bets. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up using my promo code SMOKE. That's $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets. You can bet anytime touchdown on DraftKings. DraftKings is the place to bet touchdowns. So what are you waiting for? Go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code SMOKE. Bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code SMOKE only at DraftKings Sportsbook. This episode is presented by Coors Light. Choose chill.
Go to CoorsLight.com/smoke to get Coors Light delivered straight to your door.
Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Between work, what we see on social media, and the many choices life throws our way, it's no wonder people are increasingly worked up. But we don't have to let the noise ruin our chill. From turning a rained out barbecue into a movie night, or shoveling snow off the stadium seats to cheer on your team. That's when you choose to chill and reach for a Coors Light. It's mountain cold refreshment. It's October, and that means football, hockey, and basketball are all back. With the baseball playoffs in action as well, it's easy to get worked up with all those games on TV. With all the noise, it's important to take a deep breath, choose chill, and then crack open a cold Coors Light. Always remember to celebrate responsibly. Straight from the Coors Brewing Company in Golden, Colorado, Coors Light is a mountain cold refreshment, as crisp and refreshing as the Rockies. Fall feels good when you choose to chill and reach for a cold Coors Light. Get Coors delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/smoke. Got to hoop with Obama before. We're just coming off the Kamala sit down. Tremendous honor. How was it hooping with Obama?
Before we even talk about Obama, I want to give you guys your flowers, because that's a beautiful thing. And we're talking about stories about when we couldn't even smoke as players. Now, the biggest sports podcast right now, All the Smoke, you guys are really moving the culture forward, and you can talk about herb, and you're over here, doing interviews with the next president of the United States. It just shows how far we've come as a culture, especially when it comes to this herb stuff. So, big shout out to you guys for what you guys are doing, and just the piff, the herb thing is just, it's so important. Like, you're playing in front of 20,000, 25,000, game's over at 10 o'clock. Like, what, you expect me to go to sleep at 11
But they don't understand the schedule. I mean, you think about it. I mean, back-to-backs. You're in Portland one night and you got a back-to-back in San Antonio. You get to San Antonio at 1, you get to the room at 2. Like, it's not, everyone has their vice. I didn't judge nobody on their vice, but mine just happened to be smoking. I know if I smoke something, I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just like, it was crazy how hard they made it for that to happen. But I remember when I retired in 2017, myself and Al Harrington, like, we wanted to kind of make it our goal to keep putting it in their ear. We would fly out to New York and talk to the NBPA. We would talk to the NBA and just kind of just keep it on their minds until they both got doctors. And they said that the PA's doctor came back with the positive sides of it, and the NBA doctor still kind of was on the other side of, no, it's still bad, and they had to come meet in the middle. And then, obviously the bubble, when the world stopped for COVID and they brought the bubble back, and I'm just thinking in my head, I'm like, bro, if they test these dudes before they come back in the bubble, there's 80% of the dudes are going to be not playing. So, I think the NBA kind of knew what they were dealing with, let it slide, and then from here on out, they haven't smoked. But like I said, I started smoking at 14, bro, and I knew I had a wild childhood, so it calmed me down, helped me sleep, helped me focus. But that's what I used instead of. I wasn't someone who was going to take pills. I socially drink, but like weed was something that was always just, that's what I needed.
That's
and I was able to be, I guess, a functional smoker. I was someone who smoked before the game. I'll smoke before the game, go play the game, and then smoke when I get done. You know what I mean? And it was just kind of, it saved me. Although I veered off the plan a couple times and got into some shit. Like, I can only imagine how much more shit it would have been if I didn't have the weed to at least kind of somewhat
calm you down,
slow me down.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it a vice at that point. It was just, something a tool that can just help us just relax, in this madness. So shout out to you guys for making that possible.
Man,
for the
I appreciate it.
Man.
I shout out to you for being the first person that really kind of was really telling me, because I've had some other motherfuckers that I smoked a lot of weed with during the years, and they didn't want to really, so I ain't gonna push it, but I appreciate you opening that door.
Yeah. And we were smoking Spice and all this garbage.
Remember that? Spice was horrible. What was that, like 10, 11, 12? What was that, back around 2010-ish? Was it the time?
2010, yeah.
It was nasty work.
It was nasty. Shout out to Brad Miller bringing that nasty ass spice. Shout out to the Big Duck bringing that nasty Indiana spice
that shit was nasty,
over to the locker room.
Spice was bad. I had a bad incident. It wasn't me, but I seen some bad shit happen on that. But anyway, but we're past it. We don't have to worry about it no more, man. We got, I was showing you the bags of our repertoire before you came on camera. We definitely we're gonna celebrate once we get done. But again, let's talk. Obama. You got a chance to hoop with him. What was his game like, and what kind of person is he?
I thought it was special, man. You get to play ball. I think it was his 50th birthday. President of the United States, and I got to bring my mother and got to, it was a big year.
How did it happen? They called you up to?
I got that email. It was a different, it was a different kind of email.
Man,
it was a different email. It was very presidential.
Yeah.
I'm like, Mom was at the house. I'm like, Mom, check this out. It said +1. My mom was like, man, I'm coming. I'm coming. But it was really special just you're around the top guys and you have that moment. You get to have a real moment with the president of the United States, like as a human, the guy's like he represents America, but he also, represents the islands of Hawaii. He represents Africa. You know, he's also in this deal with the NBA Africa. So it was a pretty surreal moment just to be able to, you know, all the guys from his cabinet they're all from Chicago. So, you know, we're at the height of our thing, one of the top teams in the league. Obviously, Pooh just got MVP. And
who went over there with you from your team?
Just me and Pooh.
Okay.
But they also made it clear, like, don't, you know, I remember he was talking about my jump shot a lot. And it was like the guys were just like laughing a little bit too hard.
Yeah, like don't get it fucked up though.
I was like, yo, like, all right.
Okay.
So he got the ball.
Yeah.
And I remember like I closed out on him, like, I'm not letting you shoot. You're not getting nothing. He just needed to feel that a little bit. So that was my moment with Barack Obama on the basketball court.
I think some people think shit is sweet, you know,
sweet,
until
man.
you get up out like, God, you guys are a lot bigger than you look on TV, or faster, or stronger. Like, yeah, no, I don't care if you're the president, bro. You're not gonna be talking shit.
No.
Off camera, before we started, I mentioned that I just had a son a month ago, and you're expecting, and I just saw the way you lit up. Fatherhood to you. You have a boy on the way, you said?
I got my son on the way.
2 more months?
2 more months.
And you already have 2 daughters?
I got one daughter. I got one son. You know, 7 and 5. I got Alex, who's 16 as well, from my wife. But shout out to Lais. You know, she got 2 more months left. It's no joke. You know, usually, you know, you're on the road playing ball, so. Okay, I'm retired now, so I have a little more time to be here. Whatever it takes. If I got to be the Uber driver, I'm the Uber driver. If I got to take out the garbage, I'm taking out the garbage.
Whatever it takes.
You know, whatever it takes. But, you know, I really hope that this, you know, my girl's 6'1". So I really hope that, you know, she might have a Wemby in her belly right now.
Joakim Wemby?
She might have a Wemby in there, you know? So I just hope that he loves hoop. You know, so my question was really to you, because I see your twins are killing it.
Yeah.
So it was just more, how did you kind of get them to play ball?
It was a journey. You know, the twins started being able to move around with me maybe my last 4 or 5 years. So they got to be, you know, Kobe was Uncle Kobe. As soon as he met them, he started giving them shoes. So he was around that. He was around CP, Blake, and Lob City. He was around that Golden State Warriors team I finished with KD, Steph, and that whole crew. So they always liked it, but they were kids, so they loved video games. So they could shoot the ball and knew the game, but they didn't want to work on their game. So I was, in my homeboy Gino, we have talks about this, like, they don't want to do it, I'm not going to push them. It's not going to, they have to love it more than I love it. So I kind of just let them slide by until they kind of started seeing. I started coaching them when they were about 8, when I retired, and they went from the best players to kind of the middle of the pack. And I'd just be like, you guys see? Like, yeah, okay. And so sometimes we'd shoot, and then their 10th birthday, I took them to go see Kobe for a surprise birthday, and he trained them, and I kind of think that lit the fire. Then about 12 and a half, 13, they're like, all right, Dad, we're ready. So they're 15 now, bro. And just when I tell you, like, it's just the most joy in my life when I just see them continuing to get better, and they love doing it. Like their dog, they work out constantly now. So they fell in love with the journey.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean? So it's just been fun. So I definitely hope you get that.
Appreciate
you get that ride and see what it's like.
It's dope, man, because I'm seeing a lot of the guys' kids are
a ton of them
getting really good. So is it the access of having the top trainers around? You know, the inspiration of having, like, you know, the superstar players coming and say what's up.
Yeah.
You know, there's so much. I'm a 3rd generation athlete. You know, my grandfather was a soccer player on a professional level in France, a team Sudan champion. You know, Pops is the last French guy to win the French Open, win a Grand Slam. Only African to ever even be a top 10 player. You know, so his journey was always interesting, and I was blessed to see his work ethic. You know, even though it was a different sport, you know, Pops would make me run before school. That was his thing. Like, all right, you're gonna do something that's different, because, you know, I'm playing basketball. I'm from New York. You know, it's like, all right, after a certain amount of time, it's like, all right, silver spoon this, silver spoon that. Like, yo, okay, like, you guys got me fucked up. Like, I got a work ethic. I'm gonna work hard. You're gonna see real work.
When did that kick in? Because that was my, you know, when I'm thinking, like, I grew up on food stamps, holy shoes, family lived with us. We live with family. Like, twins grew up behind gates, private school, and have 20 pair of shoes. You know, like so my always concern is like how I'm gonna make sure they understand first and foremost it's not how everyone lives, but how am I gonna get that dog and that fight in them? So I just had to keep being creative and find ways, and they have it now. But when did that light turn on for you to be like, nah, fuck that. This, like you said, shit ain't sweet.
Man, it's funny. I think that me and Pooh's relationship came off that question because he was interested in that for his.
Oh, really?
Son. So he was always interested, like how did you become how you are?
Right.
You know, having
with your background.
With your background. It's an interesting thing, but I'll say this. Seeing the way that he trained, being able to see his training habits, but also like going back to Africa. You know, every year we went back and it gave me perspective, like, okay, you are really blessed. And let's not forget, like, okay, you get to live in America. Like simple things, hot water, you know, air conditioning, you know, wood floor, indoor courts, you know, high schools playing against, it's like, yo, we have everything. So going back to Africa, there's none of those things, you know? So going back to Cameroon was definitely the biggest blessing my dad ever gave me because it gave me that perspective. And, you know, before every game, that's where my mind went. It was just like my roots, even though I never lived there, I got to feel it enough as a kid where I was like, okay, this is where I'm from. I'm never gonna forget who I am and where I'm from. So, I think it just gave me my strength to just, you know, push myself that much harder. And also, like, you know, people talk a lot of shit in New York. So for me, it was like, all right, I gotta let them know you're gonna respect me as a teammate because of how hard I go, and I felt like I showed that every single time I stepped on the court.
I love that. We were going to touch on the BAL a little bit later, but since you spoke about, you know, what going back to Africa meant to you and getting to your roots, how did the BAL come about? And for those who don't know what the BAL is, can you briefly explain what that is?
So the BAL is the Basketball Africa League. It's a partnership with the NBA. It's the NBA league in Africa. You know, since retirement, this has been the biggest blessing of my life.
You invested in it, right?
I'm an investor. Okay. I'm an investor with Luol, Deng as well. Obama's an investor in it. Dikembe was an investor in it. And, you know, just got to be around first of all, the NBA is not going to let this fail. So just to be around that kind of high level energy, that high level, that business, to be around the business like that, I think was really special. And, you know, I just remember being at the height of my basketball career, and I would go back to Cameroon and they would be like, so what do we do? That's a really tough question for somebody. I don't care if you're an all-star or at the height of your thing, like, how are you supposed to answer a whole basketball ecosystem for a country? That was really tough. So when I had the opportunity, I built a court, and Amadou Gallo Fall, who is the president of BAL, but who was a scout for the Dallas Mavericks at the time. We were always very close, and he ended up coming to talk to the kids on my court in 2010. I don't really remember his words. I just remember that the opportunity, it was somewhere along the lines that the opportunities were going to be different in the future. And I just remember him talking, and you know, we see guys come and talk to kids all the time, but I remember just being in tears and just the power of his words and just the way he spoke about it, and just like him getting on a plane, like, it's complicated. You just from Senegal to Cameroon, you have to go through other countries, and he ended up coming for us. And as soon as this opportunity came, you know, he called me and he was like, "Yo, do you want to be an investor in this league?" That was I didn't even ask.
What year was that?
This was 4 years ago.
Okay.
So right after So you had to be a retired player, and you know, this has been the most amazing journey, just being able to travel all these countries in Africa, and, you know, rest in peace, Dikembe, just being around him and seeing how much joy he had, and just, you know, as a trailblazer and all the work that he had to do to be able to, you know, with his voice, like saying, like, you know, like, watch in 10 years, this is gonna be a unicorn. this is gonna be a 10X. Don't worry, Joe. Don't worry. You know, just the pride that he had in being able to build it. Like, just it's a business that's investing in people in Africa. Investing in the people. You know, so many people think about Africa as just, it's like, you know, Dikembe is from Congo. This is like the most exploited land in the world. Like, people go there for the minerals and bounce. You know, it's really real. So to be able to be a part of something where you're actually pouring back in the people, like when you talk to these kids out there and you talk to them, it's not like talking to the kids out here. You know, these kids have no attention spans out here. You talk to them for 5 minutes, all right, it's cool. But no, they're eyes open, hungry. You build a court. I built a court in Cameroon. This summer we had 600 kids go through that court.
Amazing.
You might have 150 kids on one court at a time. You throw a bounce pass, you gotta wait for 40 people. You gotta wait 40 kids before you can throw another pass. And I mean, that's what they're up against.
Right.
And just to see the fight in these kids, man, it makes me go back every time. And now that we have the NBA platform, like, I really feel like the sky's the limit.
No one has planted a flag as far as professional sports in Africa, right? Like,
no.
Soccer is probably the biggest, most watched, but this is an opportunity. I mean, 1.3, it's 4 times bigger than the United States. So if this catches fire, I think Dikembe might have been underselling the 10X. You know what I mean? This can be a monster if it, you know, continues to go the right direction.
Thank you, man. You know, that's the goal. You know, these are the fastest growing youth populations in the world. You know, the numbers don't lie. Like, if they get their courts and the education and everything that comes with what we know about the game, the sky's the limit, and I'm really proud to be a part of that.
What do you think the game looks like if it continues to your vision, your team's vision, the league's vision? Where do you see this league in 10, 15 years?
The next step is definitely pushing the grassroots. We need more African stars, you know. But when you look at Joel Embiid and what he's doing, Joel started playing basketball at 16, 17 years old. Like, imagine if you lower the hoops out there where the kids can go out there and do their thing. Imagine if there's investment in coaching and they start getting, there's enough courts where, oh, you're getting individual workouts now too, or, oh, the guys want to do trips to Africa and, you know, teach a couple coaches for a month. You know, that's really what I'm trying to push, because I feel like a lot of the guys want to do it, and now we have a platform where, you know, you can learn. I mean, the continent is so special.
Let's take all the smoke out there next summer and do a camp and everything and turn it out.
That would be so dope.
Let's do that. That's an easy call. Make that happen.
I'll smuggle the piff in. We'll be straight.
My guy. I'm gonna try to
Hey, what about some of the other giants in Africa before, like Manute, even before going on with
the history?
Yeah.
Duke's got a big time guy.
Yeah, Common. Yeah,
Common. What are your thoughts on the history of preceding Dikembe?
I think that's a great question. You know, first of all, I'm sure I really want to touch on what Lou did, because what Lou did this summer was so special. You know, just being able to. Well, I want to give him his flowers because it also connects with, like, Manute Bol. They're from the same area, but okay, the guy gets to represent South Sudan is the youngest country in the world. South Sudan got its independence, I think, 15 years ago. South Sudan is also where Manute Bol's from. Manute Bol was giving his checks to buy weapons so that the people in the village could protect themselves from a genocide. Like, I'm just getting goosebumps. Like, I mean, it's like we're talking about all this stuff, and it's just like, this is the pioneers of Africa. Like, this is what we're talking about. You know, this is a whole other level of human rights, and you know, so that's Lou's people. You know, and then for him to be able to, you know, you hear the stories of Manute Bol and how much people loved him and appreciated him. His son's in the league, like, but you know, that was his fight was weapons to protect his people. And now to be able to see you know what, the next couple generations later to have a Luol Deng who built courts in his country and be able to represent his country on the biggest stage, play against the US, make it a real game where they are competing their asses off. That was not just for South Sudan. That was for the whole continent, because now these young kids are looking at guys that look like, yo, that guy looks like me.
See it to believe it.
And, you know, you're talking about the inspiration for your kids, you know, that's what Luol's being able to provide for a whole continent. So, like, what Luol did this summer in the Olympics, like, you just got to give him his flowers. Absolutely. Because, you know, as a obviously he was my teammate, but for everybody, I just always wanted to give him, he deserves his flowers, the work he put in. Shout out Royale Ivy. You know, they brought in their high school coach who ended up coaching on the national team. It's just like real visionary shit. You know, it's not just, oh, I have an idea, like I'm smoking one, like I have an idea. It's like, all right, I'm getting on a 15-hour flight. I'm comfortable as hell. I made a lot of money playing here, but you know what? I'm going back. I'm doing what I got to do because I have a vision. And you get to see it. You get to see the product where they're playing against the US and it's a war out there. I mean, now you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a battle.
So it's a battle.
That's dope. So when you hear, and this is not even, I mean, obviously Gilbert is an evil genius, my guy, but burnt out. When you hear like kind of the jokes about what they were saying, they got baskets and, you know, in the back they shoot on peach baskets and dirt, no shoes. Is that ha-ha, or is that like knowing the grind, is that fucked up to you?
I think it was an important moment because there is a lot of ha-ha going on. You know, it's like, look, I'm blessed. I grew up in Paris. I grew up in New York City. I got to travel in Africa. So for me, it was never ha-ha because, you know what, this is my people too. Like my mom's Swedish. I come from a lot of different places. But the reality is, yeah, there is a disconnect between Black people in the inner city out here and Africa. And I think that was a great lesson to be able to connect some of the dots. And like, look, you guys are pioneers in what you guys are doing. Like, you know, your podcast is called All the Smoke. You had the future president, do your thing a couple days ago. Like 10 years ago, you couldn't even think about no shit like this. So we're on the same shit. Like, you know, our thing is trying to bridge the gap. Like we're trying to bridge it. You know what? Pooh brought his high school kids and he was like, yo, let's go to Senegal. Let's go to Africa. He got all the kids' passports. You know, he did that with his own money. It wasn't, you know, he did that with his own money because he wanted to bring the kids. It was right after my wedding. It was the most powerful trip I've ever done. You know, you got kids who don't leave their blocks, don't leave their neighborhood to be able to get that perspective and go into Africa and realize what you have. You know, it was a basketball trip, so the kids meet through basketball, this in a cultural exchange, but the trip was so much bigger than just basketball. It was life-changing. You go to the slave castles, you know, you get to connect, you get to have new friends, you get to see where these kids are playing. You're playing in 110-degree weather. Perspective, man. Yo, you got an indoor gym.
Man, what?
You got an indoor gym. You get to go play in front of your little girlfriend, all your family. Like, don't take that shit for granted. Every African that comes across the pond, because he's a tall, you know, raw, goofy, like he can't really play that well, you know, but, you know, whatever, we take him because he can block shots. Like, he's leaving. There's a lot of sacrifice.
The whole family.
There's a huge sacrifice that goes into that. So it's like understanding where people are coming from and like leaving your culture, leaving your people to come and try to live out your dreams. So that's what we're trying to do when we're building the infrastructures and all this stuff in Africa. It's like, yo, you don't have to leave. You can play in front of your fam, you know?
Obviously it's continuing to grow, but are there resources that are needed, or is everything kind of planted and then now it just has to grow?
I think it's just chipping away every day. You know, I think that there's a huge value in just like the people on this side. Like, yo, this at some point, like we can say whatever we want. That's the roots. That's the origins. That's home. Like, you know, I know that might sound weird to some people, but you know what? It's the truth. So to be able to connect with your roots, I think is something that, you know, both sides can definitely learn from and take in, you know, because you get to go to Africa, you get to see the roots and where, you know, what it looked like at one point. And you can also teach basketball. You know, I think that's the next step, is like bringing in guys who can teach the game. And the more we do that, that's when we get the diamonds in the dirt.
No doubt.
Lottery players, who's feeling lucky? Get ready to try your luck with Jackpocket, America's #1 lottery app. With Jackpocket, you can order official state lottery games right on your phone, making it easier than ever to win big. First, pick your favorite numbers and state lottery game. Then get a photo of your physical ticket after you order to your phone. And the best part, new customers can get a free ticket to order using Code SMOKE. That's Code SMOKE for a free Mega Millions ticket. Don't wait. Download Jackpocket now for a chance to win big. Good luck. What up, fam? It's your boy Stack 5. I want to share a quick word with you from our partners at Simply Safe. They've helped me experience peace of mind, and we want you to experience that too. We've partnered with Simply Safe to give you an exclusive 50% discount. But that's not all. Also enjoy a free indoor security camera with Fast Protect monitoring. I just got my Simply Safe system installed recently, and I haven't slept so good in forever. Every night before I go to bed, I make sure I arm the system so I can go to sleep with no worries at all. Simply Safe has 24/7 live guard protection. That means their agents can act on the alarm within 5 seconds from receiving the alert. And the best part, there's no contracts, no cancellation fees, no nonsense pricing. You'll never be locked into a long-term contract, so you can cancel anytime. So if you want to have peace of mind, go to simplysafe.com/smoke to claim a 50% off discount. Also enjoy a free indoor security camera with Fast Protect monitoring. It's only for a limited time, so make sure you order today. That's simplysafe.com/smoke. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Favorite places in Africa to travel, favorite cities, or just favorite thing to do out there when outside of basketball?
My favorite thing to do when I go to Africa, I really enjoy going to Yaoundé, because that's where...
Where?
Yaoundé in Cameroon.
Okay.
So Yaoundé is, for me, is my great-grandfather's land. It's where my great-grandfather's buried. It's where my grandfather's buried. It's where I'll be buried. It's where my father will be buried. It's where my grandmother built a school, all on the same land, where I built my basketball court. So when I go back, these are my childhood memories. We're also an hour drive away from the beach in Kribi. You know, it's Klay Thompson did a camp. Shout out to Klay Thompson.
Past summer, right?
This past summer.
Dope.
He came to Cameroon. He put in some work with the kids.
Clay's so cool. Real quick, I want you to finish your story. Did you and Klay really know each other?
Not really.
How fucking cool is Klay?
I don't know him that well, but we connected on some reggae shit.
I figure you guys would vibe. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's a vibe dude.
He's a vibe dude. Yeah. I could tell he's a vibe dude.
Yeah, shout out Klay.
Shout out Klay. Thank you for that.
No doubt. How was that?
I think, you know, I wasn't there when he came, but try to set him up. My dad has a little boat out there. I saw he was doing work with the kids, so I was like, yo,
take the
Klay,
boat.
take the boat.
What?
Take the boat.
Did he take Pop's boat out?
He took the boat out, but I heard the waves were crazy, so they went out and they were like, nah, we got to bring this back in.
Yeah, this ain't the Cali Bay.
It's not the Cali.
Real shit out here. That's dope.
That was cool.
I love it.
Rwanda, Kigali is a very special place. You know, Kigali is a place. I mean, it's great because there's just so much interesting things to learn. You know, we do a lot of going to Kigali. I went there with the BAL for the first time just to see how clean and organized the country is. It's just like everything they tell you about Africa, it's the complete opposite. You know, this is the most organized country. Everybody got healthcare, education. I mean, it's just next level. And you know, all you hear about when you think of Rwanda is a genocide that happened there. But with their reconciliation story and the way they were able to bounce back from that kind of pain, you know, I think there's a lesson there that, you know, we can really learn from on this side. You know, just how do we come together after so much pain, you know? So, I mean, this is the kind of the lessons and what we can learn from Africa is, it's hard to put into words, but I'm just blessed to be with this platform. I'm able to travel all around and not just go where my family's from, but there's just so much to see. You know, you go up in the north, it's Morocco, it's Algeria. You got the pyramids, and then you go to South Africa. It's like the music is crazy. You know, it's the Zulu warrior energy. It's like, oh, you'd be like, damn, this shit kind of reminds me of New York. Like, it's just the tough. Like, you'll go to the club and you'll be like, the fuck is going on, man? This is crazy out here.
Dope.
So it's just Africa's special, man.
That's what's up. I love it. Gainesville, Florida. I heard that place is special. You were there in a heavy time, and we will get to the back-to-back championships. But Thibodeau, Cam Newton, Aaron Hernandez. What was that doc called on Netflix about the football team?
Swamp Kings.
Swamp Kings. I mean, you were in the swamp. Talk to us about your experience at Florida. Obviously, the back-to-back championships, but just life in that ecosystem, because there was a lot of professional athletes the time you were there. No,
Gainesville, that time was as special as it come. You know, it's your first time leaving home, being away from your family. And, you know, there was all those guys that you mentioned where we all lived in the same dorm, in the same place, you know. The stories are, like, where do I start? But I actually watched the documentary not long ago, and there was a moment in that documentary where one of the kids got caught smoking a joint, and they kicked him off the team. And he went home and he got killed. And Urban Meyer touched on it, and he was like, you know what, I have to live with that. As the leader of this shit, I have to live with that, knowing that I kicked off a kid and this happened. So he was like, never again will that happen to any of my kids. I will never kick one of my, if I recruit them, they're staying with me. And I think that it gave them a bond that, you know, it allowed them to go all the way and win a championship. It's deep, you know. We were able to, obviously, you know, my roommate was Al Horford, and I had Corey Brewer, and I had Torian Green, Lee Humphrey, C. Rich, Walter Hodge. Like, these guys are still some of my closest friends today. And it was, we win the championship after sophomore year. And this was my first time where people were like, yo, you could be a top pick. You know, it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go to the NBA. And I love those guys so much, and I love what we had so much that we ended up going back to school another year. Because
you, Al, who else could have left? Corey? All three of you guys.
Left. Yeah. And we ended up staying another year because, you know, chemistry is just something you can't deny. You can't deny when you're open, you're getting the ball, you know your guys' tendencies, you just love hooping with the guys so much, and the brotherhood just becomes, it's like second nature, you know? And I'm really proud of that, you know, it was not about the money. And we showed it. You know, a lot of people say, oh, it's not about the money. No, but you know what? Let's run it back. There was no NIL. Shit, we were paying money. We were paying the Lloyds of London the insurance to stay. You know, that's what those years meant to us. You know, there was real sacrifice in it. And I think, you know, those years were as special as they come.
Obviously, you know, back-to-back champs and the bonds, but, you know, we went to school right over the hill in Westwood at UCLA, and although I had a ton of fun playing basketball, I probably had more fun not playing basketball. What were those nights like? Any stories you could share? I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but I mean, we mentioned some heavy names. Did you ever see Thibodeau out there smoking a joint? What's happening with Cam Newton? Like, what'd you see out there that you could speak on?
It was wild. Thibodeau was not wild.
At all?
No, he was it's what made him him though. You
Right.
know, he was probably like on Fridays, he was probably reading his Bible and he was serious. We had a class together. He was always doing the extra credit. You know, I was like, yo, like, you're a square, bro. Like extra credit. But, you know, like talk about like his competitive spirit. You couldn't deny that, you know, especially like, okay, you're going to school in the South, you know, that was crazy to me. It's like, you know, you're going down University Avenue and that's like the main road on campus. And you got the black kids on one side and you got the white kids on one side partying. It's just like nobody mixed. And that, to me, that it was just like we were able, because of the sports thing,
to cross over.
It bridged a little bit more, you know, and that's the power of sports.
Right.
And what we do and the platforms that we have is like you win, it becomes so much bigger than rich, poor, black, white, all that stuff. You know, you're able to do something that's bigger than
you.
Bigger than you.
Before we started, you told us about you got arrested out there though because you had a little doob in your pocket.
That's right.
So this is after your first year in Chicago?
So this is after my rookie year.
Okay.
You know, I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm like, I'm going back to school. You know, I haven't been back to school. And I'm in the club having a good time. I'm smoking in the club. And I got a little doobie left in my pocket. And I guess somebody saw, because as soon as I got out the club, I got arrested. I mean, that was a pretty tough moment because, you know, you turn on the TV, you see your name on the ticker, arrested for weed. You know, we actually it was the day before we found out we got the #1 pick. So it was like there was such a high around the Bulls. We have the #1 pick, and then it's like I fuck it up with getting arrested with a fucking half a joint in my pocket. And it was tough. And then I realized, I was like, yo, the cops were just like, they were roughing me. They were tough too. And I was like, what? Like, I just won back-to-back championships and you guys are arresting me over a half a joint? Like, what the fuck is going on? And I found out later that after our second championship, somebody who was driving drunk and a cop got killed.
Oh, really?
So the cops were
high alert.
They were pissed, and they made an example out of me. And you know what? And I got in the program, and you know that was my introduction to the program. You know, shout out Dirk,
Cliff and Dirk.
Shout out Cliff. You know,
what was it like in there? Explain people if you don't know what the NBA drug program is. I don't even like to call it weed program. What is it? What you got to do?
Well, you just get piss tested all the time, and you got a guy just looking at your dick and like making sure that it's you who's pissing. The dick watchers.
Yeah,
it's the worst. It's the worst. It doesn't get worse than that. Like honestly, like that's one thing. I don't wish that on any man.
To be a drug test person. The way they stare at you, like it's almost like they enjoyed it. It was weird.
Oh, it was
weird energy, bro. I'm trying to tell you, it was so weird. Hey, I did that bitch a lot, bro. I was in there 2 times with a fail, and I admitted I told on myself 2 times. Like I ain't got my shit because we had to carry the drink around.
Oh, so you snitched on yourself?
Yeah, twice. But they got me out. So you know you only get 3 strikes. I already had 2, so I'm just like fuck. But they were the homies, Cliff and Dirk. Fellas. I'm coming home. You know you got to have the drink, so we go to GNC and ask like, hey, what's the best way to flush weed? I was just up front with them, and me at the time was playing for the Lakers and some of the biggest teams. They're like, what the fuck? But like, I'm about to get drug tested by the league. What's the best drink? And it was never on the shelves. It was always always underneath the cabinet by the register. And I used to buy them shits by like the Costco bulk. But it was like a real job smoking because we had to, sometimes I'd have to do cardio after the game or steam room and eat clean and just always sweat that shit out of you and then always have your drink. That
just brought me back. I'm sweating and stuff.
That's hard work.
It was fucking stressful.
Can you imagine just being able to smoke freely now?
Shout out to the guys, man.
Shout out to the guys.
Yeah, they living there. You guys are living a good life.
I heard there was a rumor somewhere, and not to cut you off, in Brooklyn, there was like a smoking bus. I don't know if anyone can confirm that in the comments if you ever see this, but I heard, and I'm just like, I couldn't imagine if there was a smoking bus.
Shout out to the guys. Smoking good. Just know it was tough. That high hit different when you know that drug test could come at any moment.
Man,
so shout out to you guys. You guys are living a good life. It was a lot more stressful 10 years ago.
Yeah, hell yeah. Ricky, you're in Chicago. Who are your vets? 9th pick by the Chicago Bulls.
My vets, I had Ben Wallace.
OG.
I had OG Ben Wallace who used to wear a headband on his arm.
That's how big his arms were.
Headband on his arm. Then we had shout out to Brad Miller.
That's
man.
the homie.
Like,
we had it for All-Star.
I know you guys are cool,
Super
and I want to give Duck his flowers because I wasn't a post-up player. I didn't, I was an energy guy, but Duck was the type of guy who would come out the game and put a dip in his mouth. Like there's levels to this shit. A dip in your mouth during the game and still get buckets.
Hey, Brad had game too. I don't think people give him enough credit. Brad had game.
A lot of game.
Yeah.
And it was, for me, it was just, I'll never forget it. It was after practice. I had a shitty practice. I didn't really have a real role. I wasn't getting minutes like that. He got his big dip in his mouth. I don't understand half the shit he's saying. He's at the top of the key and he's like, Joakim, listen, you're never gonna be a post player, dog. What are you doing down there? He's like, just come up here, get the ball at the elbow, dribble handoff. If they overplay, throw the backdoor pass. He's like, it's gonna open up your game. Just trust me. It changed my life.
That became your game.
It changed my life. People like, okay, you're retired now. People forget. People they forget. Yo, I had seasons where I had 5 dimes a game. Like, I don't want to toot my own horn. That's a lot of fucking dimes,
especially for a center.
Thank you. Thank you. And that all came from just an OG. It didn't come from a coach. It came from an OG being there and taking the time with a young player and really teaching me game. So I want to give my OG Brad Miller his flowers.
Brad. Yeah, we had him in All-Star in Indiana. That's my guy. We smoked a lot of weed together.
I'm sure you did.
We smoked a lot of weed together. Year 2, first playoff since 2009. You played the defending champs, the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
Crazy Game 7 series, most overtimes ever in the playoff series. Rookie D Rose against Rondo, Ray Allen, Ben Gordon. KG was injured, but he was still talking shit from the sideline.
A lot of shit.
Yeah, what was that? Talk to me about that series and that energy around it.
Honestly, that series changed my whole career. You think you think you're doing something with the regular season and it's a long season. Guys are talking about money and guys are talking about what's next. And when the playoffs hit, there's none of that shit. Like, it's back to competition at its rawest form. To be able to be in that position of being able to play against the defending champs, who had a crazy game 1. I played well game 1. It set the tone. What Ben Gordon did that series, shout out Ben Gordon.
Was
like
cold.
The Ray Allen, Ben Gordon going at it. It was me and Kendrick Perkins talking mad shit. That series set the tone. I was like, okay. After that, I was like, I'm in the weight room every day in the summer. I'm not playing around anymore. I want this feeling. I want to win a championship. And that's why when I see the young guys, when they make the playoffs, I know that's a good thing because they're going into that off season like, oh yeah.
A different point of view.
It's a different perspective, So that series changed the whole career.
That's dope. When you look back on those Bulls teams, you guys were at the top of the East a lot of times, but there was that dude over there in Cleveland. And then Miami.
Yeah. That guy.
Them. Hey, you said some funny shit. Didn't you say some shit like, no one's ever talked about going on vacation in Cleveland?
Yeah.
Do you regret anything that you said about Cleveland?
Not at all. You like it? You think Cleveland's cool. I mean, I never heard anybody say I'm going to Cleveland on vacation. I mean, what's so good about Cleveland?
I was pissed, bro.
Oh, shit. Talk to us about some of those battles.
The toughest thing about that one was after, I think, that was after game 1. So you say that shit about Cleveland, you still got to play in Cleveland the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't imagine how real, and you got Shaq in there. You got, I'm going head to head with Shaq. Thank God it was older Shaq. when you're playing for a championship, you got to go through the best. Mm-hmm. And LeBron James was the best. And sometimes during, you could see how my heart was in it at 2,000%. Like there was no faking. And LeBron was so talented and so good. Sometimes I felt like it was, he would start dancing, and it would just like, it would piss me off. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to win. It never happened. I'm still processing,
PTSD.
Look, we're competitors, man. Right. At the end of the day, this is the business of competition, and people still talk to me about the Cleveland thing, and they think it's funny, but I think there was a lot of hurt.
Real emotion behind that.
There was real hurt. Like, you know what? Like, yeah, you beat us, so it's like,
but fuck your city.
Fuck you and your whole city, like that's basically what it was. And look, I'm saying that in the most respectful way. Like, I'm saying it in the most respectful way. You got to give the guys flowers.
Great.
The guy's all-time greatest I've ever played against. I'm always going to shout out Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. But, you get to play with your son this year. You got to give Bron his flowers.
Absolutely.
So respect to him.
That's what's up. I heard you got a good story about Stack talking crazy to the refs.
Oh man, you're gonna like this one. It was, I think it was my second year in the league, and it was early, and we're at the free throw line. The game was done. Bulls win. Free throws, end of the game, and Catfish, Tony Brothers, but I call him Catfish. Because he looked like a catfish. Simple.
I thought
he started talking shit.
He looked like a pit bull, but go ahead.
Anyway, his whole career we call him Catfish. So shout out to Catfish. But him and Stack start like talking shit. But Tony liked to talk. He used to like to talk shit, but he'll still give you a tech type of guy. Mm-hmm. But Stack was just, I guess he got Stack on a bad day.
Or a normal one.
And Stack went in talking about how much more money he had. It was just like, he violated him so crazy. I was like, oh my, I never saw a ref get violated the way that Stack did Catfish. So if Stack, I just want you to know that moment right there, it was shocking. This is 20 years ago. I'm still shocked about what you did. You didn't have to do Tony Brothers like that. Man.
Oh, shit. He said the way he did Catfish. Oh, shit. Current NBA. Knicks. You got your old coach Thibs over there. They just made the trade for Julius Randle and Karl Anthony Towns. DiVincenzo was in that trade as well. Thoughts on the Knicks and Thibs and what should we expect from them this year?
I mean, I think they're up there. Obviously when the Knicks are good, it's a whole other thing. It's like probably my biggest regret is just not being able to
get a chance
in the Garden, nothing better. So, but I'm from New York, so I see the energy around and how excited people are about their team. It's tough to see Julius Randle leave because he was a real dog out there. I just love what the energy that he brought, the way he played.
And he was one of kind of the first all-star to come to New York in a minute. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yeah, definitely shout out to Julius.
Shout out to Julius. And then just Jalen Brunson though. It's like the stability that he brought to not just the organization, but to the whole city. It was like everybody calm down.
I got it.
I got this. We're going to play at my pace. Like, nobody's going to rush me. And I think, you know, you go to the Garden now and it's just like, you know, they're playing at his pace. And Tricky Ricky, shout out to his pops, you know, who was, you know, one of the assistant coaches with Thibs with the Bulls. He was my guy. And just to see him and just see the pride that he gets to watch his son play on the biggest stage. I mean, he's walking around there. He's walking around there like his shit don't stink.
Hard to tell him. It's hard to tell him shit right now. I already know.
You already know. So shout out to the Brunsons. Nothing but love for them. And, you know, they got a real shot to win the chip this year.
Your tenure with the Knicks didn't go as great as you planned. And I heard when you went back for the first time a few years ago, you were a little nervous. How was it? What happened on your way out of New York, and how was it going back for the first time?
Well, you know, last time I got to be a part of the organization, the last time I was with the Knicks, I got in a fight with the coach, with Hornacek. You know,
argument or hands?
Argument.
Close
it
to
got
hands.
Close.
Yeah.
I mean, it got really close.
Me and Doc Rivers almost had one of those.
You know, it's not a good feeling to be in that position because, you know, you just don't know if you're ever going to get to play. You know, you're at the height of your, I mean, look, I wasn't at the height of my thing.
But could still throw it all away.
But you think, like, this could be over. Yeah. You know, I had to come back from, if you fight a coach, like, you might not come back. It's just the reality of the thing. And it was a really tough moment. And, you know, I didn't get to play. And I didn't know how it was, you know, if I could just like even go to the Garden and just enjoy a game, you know. I don't want to take away from the guys and it was a real blessing to be able to go there. You know, I've been going there since I was a kid. Right. So I grew up a Knicks fan. And
they showed love though.
They showed love. Yeah. It was nice, man. It was nice to be back in there.
That's dope.
Yeah, shout out to the Knicks.
How, when you were there in your tenure, you know, obviously I think the front office has kind of cleaned up and they're definitely on the right track now. How dysfunctional, you were coming from a solid situation in Chicago, how dysfunctional was the front office at the time and just kind of the moves and the coaching situations? How was that while you were there?
You know, I wouldn't even blame it on the coaches. I think it was just everybody. I actually loved the guys. We had a great team of like great group of guys. We just weren't good. You know, so plain and simple. It was that. It was injuries. It was. I wouldn't even only put it on the front. I wouldn't put it on the front office. It was just, you know, when you play in New York and things are good, New York is the microscope. When it's good, it's great. But when you're on that microscope and you suck, it's nasty out there. So I got to live that. It's unfortunate, but that's what happened.
That's part of life. You said you wanted to be a little bit of Lottie and a little bit of Dikembe. That's kind of, from a defensive standpoint, great. Lottie from ahead of the curve where the game kind of is now, where bigger players are making plays with the ball. As we mentioned earlier, you had a couple seasons where you're at 5 assists. What was it like kind of being one of those guys that, you know, were in the transition of bigs being able to pass the ball and make plays instead of just being on the block?
Well, it's also having a coach that believes in you, you know. As crazy as Thibs was, you have to understand, like, the year that he came to Chicago was his first year as a head coach. So it was his first time really getting the power.
He was coming off the bench from Boston?
Coming off the championship run in Boston. And he was the defensive guy. So now he had the keys. It was my contract year. So Thibs' whole thing was, yo, if you want this contract, you know, you're not going anywhere this summer. You're working out with me. Okay. So if you know, there's not a lot of head coaches that work out their guys. Thibs was that guy. He was working you out. He was making sure you're doing runs. Was it too much? Absolutely. Was he wilding? Yes, he was. But you know what? One thing about Thibs is it was going to be organized. And you were going to come prepared. And you know what? When shit gets real, that's all you want from your coach. And look, when Pooh got hurt is when I really had an opportunity to have the ball in my hands and be able to make plays. And Thibs gave me that opportunity.
2014 Defensive Player of the Year. your man Mutombo actually presents you with the award. What does that moment mean to you?
It was bittersweet because I lost my my mentor. I lost my childhood coach a couple days before, so I was mourning. I didn't, it was tough to be able to block that one out. That was like a father figure to me. And Dikembe came in. I had no idea that he was going to present me with the award, and it just gave me a little bit of peace of mind in that tough moment. And like I said, man, Dikembe had the biggest heart, and he touched on a lot of people. A lot of people around the world are giving him his flowers and condolences to his family, but we really lost a giant among giants. And for him to be the person who gave me my award at the height of my thing, like, I couldn't be more proud to have him be that guy.
Special moment to share with them.
Special moment.
Yeah. Foundation Chicago Curbing Gun Violence. Talk to us a little bit about that and what that is.
So, I just, having played in Chicago for 10 years, those were the best moments of my career. And I always wanted to do something in the community and give back. I think that I was raised that way. My father was that way. And, I started a foundation with my mother where we started a basketball league called One City. Shout out to Kobe Williams, who, works for Cure Violence and brought in all these guys from around the city, different groups. And we have 28 violence prevention groups playing basketball against each other on Saturdays.
What's the ages?
16 to 25.
Okay.
So we have the guys. We were able, after my career, I went to go see the governor, and I told him, like, look, I've been investing a lot of my own money, through my sponsors and all this in your city. Can you help me build this league?
Meet me halfway.
So he gave me some money, and we're able to pay our participants. We use the basketball and the money as the hook to bring them in the gym. And these are guys who might be going at it in the streets, but now you got to see each other every Saturday. We got the workshops going. We got job education, certain jobs. So it's moving step by step. And I'm really proud of the league that we're building. We got 400 participants, and we just want to keep growing. So
you said something about TA getting involved?
Shout out to TA. He's our commissioner.
Tony Allen is the commissioner.
Commissioner of One City.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. We got Tony Allen, and when Tony talks to the kids, man, it just hits different because he grew up in that. So to have Tony involved, and it just shows a lot about who he is too. This is not Joakim's thing. This is our thing. He's the commissioner. We make decisions together. We want to get one in Memphis ASAP. And I couldn't be more proud. Obviously, like we met through, we built our relationship through Pooh, because we were going at it in that Boston series. And to be able to like work together now, so dope, So shout out to Tony Allen, the commissioner of One City.
TA. I'm gonna tell you some power forwards. Give me a couple words on each of them. Dirk Nowitzki.
Too easy.
It's too easy for him.
It's too easy for him. I saw him last year. I have a funny, and he was like, he couldn't walk. He's like, man, I'm like, what's wrong, bro? He goes, man, I should have never played that last year, fucked me up.
Did it?
And he was like, it was year 20. And I was like, damn. He's like, how many years did you play? I was like, yeah, I played 13, but it was really 12. And he's like, the way you play basketball and the way I play basketball, it's different sport.
Yeah.
Different sport.
No, he was special. Kevin Garnett.
KG, dog. Talked a lot of shit. But I think that just the intensity of the game was always better when he was on the court.
Tim Duncan.
The big fundamentals, quiet, but competitive as hell too. You could just tell. He's just somebody who he wasn't drinking after the game. He wasn't partying. He wasn't, smoking mad doobies. You could just tell he he was somebody, it was probably easy for him to go to sleep at 11 after the game, you know? That's what I think.
One of those special ones, huh?
Yeah, he was one of those.
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis, just all around talent. I mean, he really has the full game, you know, handles, shot. You know, he can win just with his defense, but he can also get buckets. I mean, he can really do it all.
Give me 5 guys you think you've seen that had an unorthodox jumper.
Manute had a weird jumper. Dikembe wasn't the prettiest. Give me some
Sean Marion.
Sean Marion. Shout out to Sean Marion, but I mean, he got it done though.
Come on, man.
You know,
Reggie Miller, it wasn't pretty.
Oh, Reggie's pretty enough. Like we're not gonna, we can't put him in like the ugliest jumpers. No, come on.
Michael Kidd Gilchrist. Oh,
Kidd Gilchrist shit was crazy. That was crazy. That was crazy.
Bo
Outlaw.
Light skin.
Kevin Martin.
Kevin Martin. And his shit was, he was nice. His shit was wet.
Man, mid-range and 3.
We're not saying the shit wasn't bottom, it was just unorthodox.
Yeah, but you know what? There was something about like having an ugly jumper that was so demoralizing.
If it goes in.
When it goes in and you look at the bench on the other team and they're like, oh, like, fuck, man.
And you shoot them down? Oh, shit. Best food spot in New York?
I'm a big Chinese food guy.
Okay. Give us a spot.
Wee West.
Wee West.
Wee West.
Downtown. What downtown?
Downtown, Wee West. Come on, you can't.
Wee West.
Yeah, top. Big General Chow chicken guy.
One album you could listen to front to back with no skips.
Illmatic. Illmatic, and then give Bob his flowers too. Survival, Catch a Fire, all the Bob albums. You don't even have to skip.
Fire. You plus 5 for a good dinner and a smoke session. Dead or alive? 5 people.
Well, we're gonna start with Bob. You know, the gong. Think of the gong. You know, for sure. Give Bob Marley. He's number 1 for sure. Number 2, I would put Pac in there. I'd love to hear his stories. I'm sure he would have a lot to say with all this bullshit that's going on right now.
Talk to him.
This African revolutionary. He was the president of Burkina Faso. Thomas Sankara. I would put
him up.
Yeah. I would put him.
2 more.
I would put Madiba, Nelson Mandela, up there. I would love to hear what he has to say.
Especially with a little tree in him.
That would be crazy. And then King Selassie.
Not familiar.
King of Kings.
Okay.
You know.
You gotta look him up. Write that name down.
King Selassie, Ethiopia, the king of king. When Marcus Garvey said that somebody will come in from the east, a king will rise from the east. This is what all the Rastas know, you know? And then Marcus Garvey did the prophecy. He said the prophecy, and then we got Selassie. Ethiopia is the only country that never got conquered. Ethiopia. He's the king of kings, King Selassie. Yeah, that's my 5.
That's dope. Did your pop smoke? Have you ever smoked with your pops?
He's not a smoker.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he's a drink guy.
Okay.
He's a drink guy, but yeah, I mean, you know, he fought for it. So Pops was like fighting for the guys who were getting in trouble, especially in France. It just wasn't his thing. I'm like, Dad, you don't even smoke. Like, why are you always talking about weed on TV and stuff? But he was for the people. He was for us. So shout out to Pops, man.
Last question. One guest on all the smoke, but you got to help us get him. And there's only been, outside of you, there's been one other person I've been chasing, and he's your homie. And I'm not asking you to even beg, just put it in his ear. Just like, hey, man, I went to his crib, he gave me a bunch of weed, we smoked, then he got me off to Seattle. He's a cool dude, you should go fuck with him.
You don't even have to say who it is. I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah.
You know, he comes to LA a lot.
Yes,
but he's definitely, you know, I will say this. being around him was one of the biggest blessings of my career.
Dope.
As great as he was as a hooper, he's an even better human. And, you know, big shout out to Pooh. You deserve all your flowers. And, you know, the next step in your career, the next step in your life is going to be even bigger because you're so much more than just a hooper.
Hell of a run, bro.
Yeah.
Bro. Man, that's a wrap, man. I appreciate your time. It was really a pleasure, bro, to get a chance to get to know you on a deeper level, man. Well, here, bro, like we said, we got our official coffee table book, so I want to gift you this.
Oh, man, that's what's up, man.
And we also got some merch from my guy, Ray, so we got you on the...
That's what's up.
the first time somebody's unboxing the New York merch.
Oh, okay, so this is some New York. So I'm gonna show off your merch. So it's just some hats
Hell
you
yeah.
can give away or rock, and then we're going to New York next week.
Okay.
So this is the official New York hat. New York wants all the smoke.
Fuck yeah.
Got you all the smoke.
Oh,
lighter.
hell yeah.
Come on
What?
now. Fuck with it. Fuck with
Oh,
it.
man, this is the best one right here. This is the shit right here. Look at this, man.
We got you a Chicago tour shirt. Oh, these are New York. Oh, excuse me. These are New York. I haven't seen these.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
What do we got? Oh, shit. New York wants all the smoke. Yeah, so we got you laced with some gear, a couple different colors and sizes. Oh, more, bro. There you go. You guys laced, bro, with the lighters.
Man, come on,
light him
man.
up.
We shining, bro.
Come on, man. We can't leave you open-handed.
This is like, the book is amazing, but the lighters, bro, like, come on. Like, yo, hell yeah. All
Cheers.
smoke, man.
Appreciate you,
Cheers,
bro.
respect, bro.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Man, that's a wrap.
New York, a 6'7" forward from UNLV. Number 2, Larry Johnson.
Grab them up. Let's go.
Asked where we should go, and y'all flooded it, man. So we appreciate the love.
The fact that y'all coming out and showing us love, we appreciate y'all.